Okay, hey, welcome to the shop. This is Dave. And if you've been watching, you saw me turning some cherry bowls. I made 4 of them. We'll see how they come out. I'm doing something sort of interesting, sort of creative. I thought you'd like to see it. So here we go. I'll show you what I've been doing so far. Bring it in a little closer. So I have this, I was turning this on the lathe. I have this homemade faceplate. Blacksmith friend of mine welded a nut that fits on my lathe to a piece of plate and drilled 3 holes in it, and I screwed it on with some drywall screws. And short ones, right? They don't go through. And so I've got this piece of plywood, which I've glued. I started out by gluing this thing to a block of wood, turned it round, and here I am. So now I'm going to cut that just to get, I want to get rid of it, right? I made some saw cuts across it, and it looks like this. I snapped some pieces off and got it down pretty thin, pretty much just 2 plies left, a little bit of 2 plies. Now I'm going to trim that off and make a little bit of a scallop shape to make a bowl out of this thing. Wait till you see what happens after I cut this. So, hold this stuff out of the way. Here we go. I've got my bowl, I've trimmed some of the stuff off, and I've got this mounted. I'm going to drive a screw in, and I've got some little slightly angled blocks, and I'm holding it in. And I've got this thing. This is the business end. Let me show you where we go with that. Let me drive this block in. We'll do this. There we go. So, I've got this rigidly held on my bench, and I've got this thing. And it's a pendulum. It's a router pendulum, a routulum, or whatever. Anyway, so I've got a straight bit on it, and this is suspended from an eye bolt, which makes a primitive hinge that goes in 2 dimensions, excuse me. Doesn't go up and down. And I've got an eye bolt threaded into the top of this thing, another block of wood in between these 2 up at the top. And we'll look at that. Let me pan up. Boom, 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 boom. And there you have it, just coming into view, is, yeah, there you go, the top of this thing. So I've got eye bolt and an eye bolt, and one of them spread a little bit so I can get it on and off. And here we have this little contraption with a hole in it, and it squeaks because it's actually threaded into that block up there. And that's my adjustment. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit and run it back and forth, and then turn it a little more and run it back and forth until I've got it trimmed down to what I'm looking for. Let's take a look at this in action. And you know what? This is as good a place as any. Let's try that. And let's put some hearing protection on. And lose the hat. All right, mind the noise. So I'm going to turn this down till it's touching a little bit. There we go. That's it. All right. See what it's like. See what it's like. So you can see what I got. Got some scooping action. You know, I can't seem to get this in the center the way I like it, but for right now that's good enough. Let's we'll run it down a little bit more. Looks like it's cutting. Looks like it needs to go that direction a little bit. You know, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to readjust this thing just a little bit. Be right back. Okay. I've moved it a little bit, so maybe the center will be more like there rather than there. We'll see. Okay, down a little. That's down. Trying to keep the cord out of the way. See what it looks like. Here we go. So, pretty good. Still looks like it wants to go that way. I'm not going to chase it. I'll just turn this a little bit. So, do that again. Down another pass. I don't want to get too greedy all at once. Okay, close. Still looks like the center is too far that way. I'm going to move it one more time. Hold on for a second. You can watch. There we go. All right, good. Here we go, another pass. This should be it. So now a little bit of sanding, and this will be great. If I had a way to do this on the faceplate of the lathe, I'd have probably done that. But this, with that crude little backing plate on a piece of plywood, allowed me to do this whole thing, to utilize the whole thickness of the plank that I had. And here it is. Gonna look great. Let me pull this out. There we go. So there's my bowl that I turned. Obviously it's got a knot in it. It's great. And we've got the bottom. It's just slightly dished so that when we put it down on something it won't rock. It's great. Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching. Well, here we are a few minutes later. Not that many. And I've got, I think, my first coat of tung oil on them. And they look pretty shiny, but still pretty good. A nice color. Old cherry. Nice color. I'm using this Waterlocks satin finish modified tung oil. Can I say I really like it? You could do a lot worse. I like it a lot. I'll sand these with the 220 sandpaper tomorrow. Things go right, and wipe them. I brush this coat on. I'll wipe the next coat on, and it'll be thin. But these are not going to go into what you'd call heavy service. They'll probably go underneath plant pots for the rest of their lives. Anyway, so there's that. They look pretty good. I'm looking for spots where it's getting absorbed in the end grain portions of each of these planks. It's susceptible to a little extra absorption, but all in all, looks pretty good. And I'm going to call that good. I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching. Hope your projects come out well too. Can't say enough about this stuff. It's just awfully nice. Thanks for watching.